Hey guys, Luke Humphrey here, and I just wanted to go over something really quick. I recently just did a discussion on cadence with my athletes in our online run club and the athletes that we coach, and we were talking about the role of cadence in form and how cadence is really a direct determinant of speed. And fortunately, you have a lot of this data already on your GPS watches. So while data real time may not necessarily provide much, but I'm more of looking at these things over as a trend over time. And you can go back and look at a lot of these things like steps per minute, stride length, and then obviously your speed will be in there as well. So to be simple, speed is stride length times stride frequency, or velocity is stride length times stride frequency. So here's a really good example of how a person with a low stride rate, under 180 and really under 170 and under, is where people really start seeing potential issues. And it's really because of where the foot lands in front of the body, with that heel hitting way out in front of the center of gravity of the body. It just sends all that force up into the body, so you're much more at risk for injury. You're much less economical, it's costing you more energy to run a little bit slower. So in this example, let's say we take a 5K runner. That's a 20-minute 5K runner. That's 1,200 seconds. That's a velocity of 4.167 meters per second. So let's say they have an average stride rate of 170 steps per minute. So we would take 170 divided by 60 seconds, and we get 2.83 steps per second. So take that first number of 4.167 and divide that by 2.83. We would get 1.47 meters per step. And so that's what we're really looking at. That's the stride length, right? So that would be the stride length portion of that equation. So what we could do is what are we going to adjust to do that? So if we increase the stride length any further and they already have a slow stride rate, all we're doing is exacerbating the problem, right? We're not really making it any better. And as I said, if they're at 170 steps per minute, these are where they're potentially going to see injury occur. And so let's say that person improves to 180 steps per minute, which is 3 steps per second, without losing any stride length. That stride length stays at that 1.5 meters. So now our 5K time would equal 3 steps per second times 1.47 meters per second, which gives us a new velocity of 4.41 compared to our old velocity of 4.167. So 4.167 is the old velocity, 4.4 is the new velocity. So if you take 5,000 meters, divide that by 4.41, the new velocity, we get 1,134 seconds, which is roughly 1853 for a 5K. So they, just by increasing that stride length, or not the stride length, the stride frequency from 170 to 180 steps per minute, they've done over a minute improvement in their 5K time by that. So nothing really to do with more speed work or more volume or anything like that. Simply changing something that's inefficient into something that's efficient, and they've greatly improved their 5K time. And so you can really take that across the board, right? So if your stride length is probably going to shorten a little bit as you run further and further, but if we can keep that stride rate high, we're going to change the velocity that we can run really all of our paces at. And the big thing I notice is that people want to do these metronome apps. I think obviously you can get one on your phone. You can get I believe Garmin IQ has some apps that you can actually put into your Garmin, and those are fine. I tend to be more of a drills type of person, so adding more form drills into your training regimen. So I actually give some drills that I encourage people to do before a workout. And then if they do 2 workouts a week, they can do this twice a week. And over a period of time, you'll actually see that. And you can actually monitor that yourself by looking at what your Garmin data says over time. And then ultimately what you'll just notice too is that you may be running the same effort and your paces are just naturally faster. The only thing that I will say is that it's not necessarily something you'll see happen overnight. It's more, you really see long-lasting changes more in that 12-week range plus. But it's something, if you're consistent at, you'll notice that improvement over time. But to me, what you would do is you would just kind of look at your data on your GPS, go into Final Surge or Strava or Garmin Connect or wherever your data is, and look at that and look at those things of steps per minute, stride rate, and all those things. You can see those graphed, and you can see that what your pace looks like at those different variables as well. And I think that's a really good key, is just to really get an idea of where you're at now. Assess that, like if you're constantly injured, does that slow stride rate have something to do with it? And if you're under 170, there's a strong correlation with that. If you're in that 170 to 180, it's probably a little bit of a gray area. And ideally, you look at the faster runners, most of those faster runners are 180 plus, even well into the low 200s for faster and faster running. But ideally, you just need to take a look at where you're at. And if it is something that is potentially a problem, then you can come back and say, what can I add? And a lot of times I'll just give people simple things like doing those drills between a warm-up and a workout, dynamic warm-ups, things to increase mobility in hips and things like that. Core strength is oftentimes related to that because of hip instability. So there's a lot of simple things that you can do that you're going to need to do anyway to help make you a better runner. So that's why as you get faster, these type of details matter so much more, because you run out of being able to just add more mileage or add more workouts. Or you get to a point where that's just not possible. So where are those improvements going to come? It's going to come from those really small details, like improving cadence through strides, drills, getting stronger, and those types of things. So you know me, I'm a mileage person. I love running mileage, but I also understand that has a ceiling to it as well. And ultimately, it could make things even worse if you're not addressing the imbalances and lack of strength and things like that. So just something to think about. I wanted to share that with you as we talked about this pretty in depth with our run club folks and our coached athletes last week. So have a great weekend. I'll talk to you later and stay safe. All right, bye-bye.